Xie, thank you very much, Deputy Governor, and thank you for joining us all the way from Beijing. We appreciate it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, earlier, the Chief Executive of Hong Kong reminded us that this week's theme is FinTech Redefined. And he also dropped a little bit of a spoiler that we were going to hear something great from our next speaker. He is the Secretary for Financial Services and Treasury of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Christopher Hui.
Governor Zhang, ladies and gentlemen, and just now you hear very clearly what the instruction given by our Chief Executive about what I have to say. And so in my current presentation, I'm going to share with you some of the key initiatives that we have provided for all of you for this year's FinTech Week. If I recall, last year at the FinTech Week, which is the same venue, I had a fireside chat with the founder of Animoca Brands, Yes Siu. And in that discussion, what impressed me was that being a FinTech pioneer or leader, not just being a business person is enough. You need to be more than that. And fundamentally, be a philosopher fundamentally, because after all, you need to convince your clients, your stakeholders, and also your future clients and stakeholders about what you are selling, and also the vision that you are trying to build for this economy. So borrowing that theme of being a philosopher, this time, when we devised this theme for this year's FinTech Week, we start with a definition, because normally, as you know, philosophers, they like definitions. And there are different ways to define a thing, and I'm sure that in your own mind, there are different ways to define FinTech. And the way that we define it this time as a possible option for all of you is to see how we can link FinTech with the mainstream finance and also the real economy. And that's exactly against that backdrop that we try to provide to all of you the details of the three initiatives that we have in terms of how we foster FinTech development in Hong Kong. And namely, I would say the first one, as highlighted by the Chief Executive just now, is about our plan to build a new integrated fund platform targeting retail funds. And later on in my presentation, I'll share more about that. And the second initiative, and also highlighted by Chief Executive and also by Governor Zhang just now, is about how we can further integrate e-CNY into our local financial ecosystem. Because after all, I think e-CNY is of great use for both outbound and also inbound visitors to Hong Kong, out of Hong Kong, and also facilitate at the retail level the broader use of technology for payment purposes. And it's exactly against this backdrop that I want to introduce to you some of the new things being planned by some of the key players in this territory. And thirdly, in terms of initiatives, we're going to talk about more broadly our coming efforts to introduce further enhancements to our regulatory regime for VA and Web3, and at the same time about how we are going to bring about more real economy applications and innovations in the VA and Web3 space. And that's why this time, apart from FSTB ourselves, we're also working very closely with Invest Hong Kong, who has been seeing a lot of market practitioners across the spectrum of VA and Web3, and to engage them to see what market and also more product ideas they can bring to this part of the world. And don't miss that after this session when you engage them outside this podium. So first and foremost, as I highlighted, is about this new infrastructure as highlighted by the Chief Executive. Last week, he announced his policy address, and one thing that we put together for the financial services related efforts will be about this new infrastructure. As all of you know, Hong Kong is already boasts a whole suite of financial infrastructures, both for our stock market, for our derivative market, for our debt securities market, and also more importantly for interbank and at the same time the retail payment market. So after all, we already have a whole suite of financial infrastructures catering both at the institutional market and also retail level. And what we try to do is to add one more layer and one more component to that, which is a development of a new integrated fund platform targeting retail fund sector. And the whole idea basically is that with this new fund platform, we enable both people already here in this ecosystem, better efficiency, lower cost, at the same time to allow more new players into the market in terms of developing new products. Because recently, if you look at a lot of reports, I think there has been a lot of indication that in terms of the AUM managed out of Hong Kong, the trend is growing and increasing. And there's one report that I read, which I don't want to quote here, saying that we are going to exceed and also outweigh other cities like ours in terms of being a fund and also wealth management center. So against this backdrop, we want to do more. And that's exactly against that. We will put together this fund platform, basically targeting retail segment. And the next question to ask is, what does this platform do? Essentially, if you look at this PowerPoint, what we highlight here are three basic functions that this platform serves. Number one is a communication hub, and secondly is a business platform, and number three is about information. So basically, what we try to do is to cater for different segments of the market. For business platform, of course, it's both for the users and also for people who are buying the funds to redeem them, to create them, and at the same time for the settlement of those funds and the units. And for the communication hub, I think essentially it's about the institutions that are engaging in this ecosystem. It could be about the trustees, the fund managers, so on and so forth. And finally, for the information portal, it will be more investor-facing. More information to them, including the fact sheets about the funds that they are buying, comparison across different products, so on and so forth. But all in all, I would say what we are trying to do is to enhance our financial infrastructure and also enable our retail market better served. And the next question to ask is, having done with what this platform is about, who is going to do it? Because after all, like every government, I think who is doing that is important. And we have HAEX, who is going to be a developer and operator of this platform. And based on the current plan, it's envisaged that it will be ready for launch by the end of next year. So hopefully, when all of you come again next year, we will have a better and also more comprehensive and also hands-on experience to share with all of you about this operation of this new platform. And all in all, with everything that we have done here, as highlighted by the Chief Executive, what we're trying to do is to strengthen further our role as an international and asset and wealth management center. More specifically, if I'm not clear enough in terms of what this platform is all about, we try to set out here under the three themes I highlighted, being business platform, communication hub, and information portal, what this IFP is. If you look at the first column, essentially it's about the functions that this is going to serve, including the fund subscription, redemption, and also at the same time, nominee services like corporate actions. So it is something that this platform set out to do, which try to be as comprehensive as possible from the front to the back end of the value chain. And with that business function set up, I think essentially what communication it serves, the communication it serves is basically as a network, connecting the fund managers, the distributors, transfer agents, trustees, and custodians, and to enable data and messages to be exchanged and transferred more efficiently. And finally, definitely not the least, when our regulators come to me, investor protection is of essence. And that's why in this platform, we will also provide an information portal which allow the investors at the retail level to better access offering documents, fact sheets, and all fees and charges in such a way that they are better informed in terms of what they are buying into. So as all of you can see, it is an all-in and also at the same time a comprehensive network and also platform that we are trying to build here by the end of this year. So the next question to ask is, with the one issues about who's doing that being clear, what are the functions being served, why are we doing that? And as you can see from this PowerPoint, this new project basically serves multiple purposes. I think I'll start from the right-hand side investors, which is the clients they were supposed to serve. There will be more transparency in terms of enabling them to make better informed investment decisions, because there will be more information to them and also more comparison in terms of the fees and charges. But of course, we can't forget the intermediaries and fund managers, which I'm sure many of those are here. And right now in Hong Kong, we have 2,000 of those regulated asset managers. And many of them, I'm sure, have raised to us that they're interested in using this platform because it will be an infrastructure which enable them to do things now much easier and more cost-effective. And at the same time, if you look at not just more fund manager side, also intermediary side, but also overall at the market level, there will be enhanced efficiency in terms of lowering transaction costs and also lowering administrative and compliance costs. So it's something that all of us look forward to in terms of a project being all-win to all parties, at the market level, at the institutional level, and also at the retail investor level. So things don't stop there, because as all of you can see, FinTech is a journey. So even though we already plan ahead for something to be launched by end next year, we also try to be more forward-looking in terms of what may come beyond that. As high-level chief executive, this platform, if successful, will pave the way for further service offerings and efficiencies, and at the same time also pave the way for further collaboration and cooperation between us and other fund markets, including, of course, the Greater Bay Area and other parts of the mainland. So hopefully through this very short description of mine, all of you are excited as I am and look forward to see how you can get onboarding this IFP, Integrated Fund Platform, once it's ready for launch next year. So now it comes to another element, or the second initiative that we have under this philosophical theme of mainstream finance and also real economy in terms of the linkages to FinTech. It's about the use of e-CNY. And just now, I'm much inspired by the speech by Governor Zhang. I think he mentioned a lot of things from the policy angle on the e-CNY. But I think at a more practical level, it's in terms of how individuals and people generally can benefit from this usage. And that's why, if you look at what has already been launched, I think this slide is very indicative in terms of what the offering is right now by Octopus Cards and also Bank of China Hong Kong, trying to build more connectivity between the mainland and Hong Kong in the usage of e-CNY. And hopefully I can get some commissions out of this because I'm promoting for these two entities. And essentially, if you look at this from two angles, if you are Hong Kong people, which are a outbound Hong Kong resident going to the mainland, and right now you can use your Octopus mobile app and use that in Shenzhen to purchase e-CNY hard wallets. The beauty of having hard wallets is that you don't need a bank account in China, you don't need a phone number in China, and neither do you need an internet connection in China, because after all, it is hard wallets. And at the same time, for the outbound Hong Kong residents, another way that you can opt for is to use your Bank of China Hong Kong personal bank account to top up e-CNY wallet. So it's something that right now is doable, done, and also enable our people in Hong Kong when they travel the mainland to use that in the form of e-CNY. And another angle, I would say, in terms of two-way communication is that not just about people going up north, but also about people going southwards. And that's why it's important that we try to see what are the things that are in offer to allow the mainland investors to come to use e-CNY here. And right now, they can pay our retail merchants with their e-CNY wallets here in Hong Kong. So you can see that already there are certain and also considerable linkages of using e-CNY for people either up north or for people down south. So the next question to ask is, what's next? Because after all, I think FinTech is all about continuous innovation and also progress. And in terms of the government, we do very much support more innovations in terms of financial institutions and corporates exploring cross-boundary usage of e-CNY, focusing on retail payments and also in particular two-way connectivity. And the next thing to look into is when you try to go to China now, as I highlighted, you basically use their infrastructure, use their system to access the e-CNY market. So the next move that we are contemplating, subject to, of course, technical and also regulatory approval, is to have people coming to Hong Kong and they can use our Hong Kong infrastructure to use e-CNY. And the essential idea is trying to connect e-CNY ecosystem with the payment vehicle, which is Octopus Card in Hong Kong, and also the banking payment system here. And specifically, what you envisage going forward is that mainland investors, they can use e-CNY in Hong Kong through topping their Octopus Cards in the tourist mobile app. I think it's something that is to be looking forward to in terms of enabling southbound visitors to use e-CNY in Hong Kong using the Hong Kong ecosystem and infrastructure, which is Octopus Card. But of course, further to that, there will be further enhancements in terms of service offerings by the Bank of China Hong Kong to enable more services to be provided. Finally, I know that I have 5 minutes left. This is just in time for me to go through a more broader issue about the VA and also Web 3.0. We have been asked many times again whether JPEGs will affect our determination to grow the Web 3 market? The answer is a clear no. And the next question to ask is what lies ahead? So this chart basically highlights in terms of the journey that we have taken, try to develop and also grow this segment. If you recall last year in October, the government issued the policy statement on developing VA in Hong Kong. And following that, Julia, who's here, the SFC had a licensing regime for VA service providers, and we have been in place since June this year. At the same time, through the exchange, we already have 3 virtual asset futures ETFs listed. And at the same time, with Eddie's leadership at MA, we have the government green bond being tokenized. The next question to ask is what comes after? So this year's theme, as highlighted, is about FinTech redefined. As I highlighted at the beginning of my speech, it's about the linkages to mainstream finance, about our wealth management market, about real economy, about the retail payment, and at the same time try to see what are the things that are available in the market to enable more innovations. Invest Hong Kong, with King's team and also Jimmy's leadership, there's a lot of efforts trying to engage the broader market. And what we see from what we get from the market is that there are a number of key new developments. Number one is about tokenization of real-world assets, or more broadly called RWA. And there are different types of assets that we talk about, like artifacts, intellectual property rights, so on and so forth. But we talk about more assets akin to financial assets, like funds, like other types of securities. We also see more innovation over there, like, for example, tokenization potentially of some funds to enable more timely calculation of NAV, more streamlined KYE processes with digitally verifiable credentials, and also better services in terms of more disclosure of market and product information. I think all these are being talked about and also has been adopted widely by many practitioners here in Hong Kong. And more broadly, for the technology side, we also see how technology can be used, not just in financial space, not just in the asset space, but also in the green space, with like DLT being deployed for the use of tracking and also incentivizing the generation of renewable energy. So broadly, you can say that there's a whole suite of products and ideas being generated. And I do encourage you to really visit these booths and also through Invest Hong Kong engage these entities who are generating the ideas to see how you can take advantage of that. But of course, with FinTech, I think one essential key element of the development is about regulation. And the next question to ask is, what is the regulatory enablement or the regulatory requirements to enable those developments? And SFC, with Julia's leadership, there will be soon issuing some circulars with the intermediaries focusing on engaging tokenized securities related activities, and also a circular on the tokenization of SFC authorized investment products. And at the same time, the government is also working with different parties to consider expanding the regulatory remit to cover buying and selling of virtual assets beyond trades taking place on now regulated trading platforms. And something also in the pipeline, which will also happen soon, is that MA and us will also soon issue a joint consultation on stablecoins, and I'm sure this is something that is much sought after, taking into account the feedback that we received from the earlier consultation. And finally, which is more specific, is that our banking regulator will continue to consult the industry on the guidance in terms of banks providing digital asset custodial services. So all in all, you can see that a lot of things are going on the regulatory front to enable or to further the sustainable and also the healthy growth of this VA and Web3 sector. So a big thank you, and at the same time, even though FinTech Week is only a week, as all of you can agree with me that FinTech is also a journey. So we look forward to embarking on this journey with all of you, with our regulatory support, and also with our business support, and hopefully to see you next year with more to share about our platform and others. Thank you.